ECHE Music TV. I'm your host, Simone Henry. And the purpose of this show is to provide tips, tools, techniques, and resources to help you in your music ministry. We are going to talk about today, is it ministry or is it a business? Which is it? That's a big debate. But first, we're going to play this song, Happy Hour by Andre Nostalgic. And we'll be right back with our discussion.
Raise your hand if you need God to deliver you from the everyday struggle. I'm Andre Nostalgic, along with Glory. We welcome you to Happy Hour. Come on!
Come on, everybody, let's socialize, relax, take a break from the 9 to 5. Everybody.
Well, it happened on Hump Day, a day after Tuesday, a week before a pay raise. I was screaming. I lost my only job to an employer named Bob, who hired me as a clerk last summer for his company. Called me to his office just before 12. I have bad news, the budget took a hit. A major setback I just can't fix. Gotta let you go, but I want you to know you're a heck of a worker, and it's nothing personal. Here's your last check, let me show you to the door. On my way out, I ran into Dan, a certified Christian, born and raised. Here's the conversation regarding my termination. Sorry you got fired for being last hired. Just come pray at the local church that serves communion on 58 and 3rd. That's right. Come on. Come on. I arrived at the church a quarter after 5. The venue was nice and the vibe was cool. Like an Eskimo's igloo, it was smooth as ice. I surveyed the scene as I approached the altar. There were many professionals around the altar, praying, networking, and socializing about various topics in a place of worship. It's an hour of happiness with a touch of class. 2 shots in a glass. Pastor asks, what are you drinking? The blood of Jesus, Christ's best from the kingdom of heaven. I looked to my left, and there was Dan, consoling a lady from the MIA, affected by furlough effective today. With no pay, I must say, we all need deliverance from the devil's plan. I'm a slide, Dan. Why you leaving so early? I gotta go, but it's 9:30. My curfew ass fast. What do you mean by that? If I don't get home, I'm behind this grass. I still have to explain to Mary Ann about getting canned. Good luck, man. Hey, thanks again for inviting me. No problem, my friend. Take care of yourself. Happy hours anywhere you like to go to find a peace of mind from the daily grind. I get a way spot to relax and unwind after working hard on the 9 to 5. So whenever you're having a difficult day, don't worry, be happy. People stay encouraged no matter what. Keep your head to the sky. Live life to the fullest. You only have one.
Socialize, relax, take a break from the 9 to 5. Happy hour starts at 5 o'clock. It's 2 for 1 blessings at the church tonight. Yeah.
Right. Welcome back to ECHE Music TV. I'm your host, Simone Henry. My guests today are James and Regyna Cooper. I met them at a Baltimore meetup for business owners, and we became fast friends. They are pastors, ministry leaders, business owners, and just all around good people, great coaches, and they're great people to have around. So take it away. Let my audience know what you'd like them to know about you.
Well, first, I want to say thank you, Simone, for inviting us here to speak with you. As always, it's a ball being with you anyway. Always a pleasure, and to speak with your audience about what we were talking about ministry and business. How do you marry the two? So I'll let you I'll let you talk about who we are.
Yes,
You do
dear.
it so much better than I do.
Yes, dear. Yes, dear.
That's okay.
So that's the boss. And it only took me about 12 of our 22 years of marriage to figure that out. So the last 10 years have been awesome. We are in ministry. We are in business together. And when Simone reached out to us about this topic, it's one that we dealt with quite a bit in our own lives and also in some of the lives of our clients. And it can be a challenge. Some of our background is we've spent more years than I care to admit in corporate America. We were both professionals, me in the IT field in program management, Regina in financial management for some of the bigger banks.
All of them. Just keep going.
Yeah, just run down the list. They're all one now.
Yeah.
And during that time, we were called into ministry, and that time we were also called into business. And we really struggled with the two. How do you do business and how do you do ministry? And what's the difference? What separates
Yes.
one from the other?
Yes.
Right.
Because if you love people, it's ministry. But then how do you get paid? And
If you don't get paid, it's not a business.
Right.
Right.
Is it appropriate to get paid?
Right.
You know, what's the difference and how's it all work? So, so we're happy to be here and share some of that and discuss some of that with you as you go. So,
Okay.
whatever, ready, fire.
All right, well, fantastic. Since you all are in ministry, so let's talk about that first. What is ministry?
Ministry is serving God and serving people. Bottom line. The word ministry actually breaks down to serving. And so everything that we do is ministry in some form, shape, or fashion. And the challenge is that we put our lives, we put God, we put everything in boxes. And so
Absolutely.
then it's ministry. And when we say that, automatically some things click in our heads as to what that means.
Right.
And so that means I have to be super humble. That means I have to be, I have to be pious. Yes, that's a great word. Yeah, I was going to say self-depreciating.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
You know, I have to, put God first, like you're not already doing that. And so these are some of the misconceptions that come with it. But bottom line is, when you think of it, what did Jesus do? He
Yes.
walked up to people and he loved them.
Yes.
Right.
And that was his ministry.
That was his ministry.
And that's the ministry we're supposed to have today.
Okay. So now in the music business, that has been a big debate.
Yes.
I go to conferences and workshops and different things like that, and people will say, oh, well, I'm not in business, I'm in ministry. I'm here to speak to my audience, give them the word of God that I have been given in song. And that is what I do. I'm not in business, But then, as a recording artist, they record their music,
Yes.
they put it on CDs, they travel around, and then they want to sell them.
Yes.
Well, now, if you are selling your CD, you are exchanging a product for money.
Yes.
Well, now, that's business, right?
Right.
Yes.
And I think it goes back to being clear on what you're called to do. So if God has given you the ability to sing or to play music, and then he also gives you the talent of being able to write and create, and then he says go out and share it with the world, that's a talent that he's giving you.
Right.
So again, it goes back to, we talk about the parables of the talents. So are you supposed to hide that? So if God says go out and use it, share it, reach, on the business side is an interesting thing we say. It's like, don't make your clients crooks. Don't make them thieves. When you're offering something and they're taking, and it's a value, and people want to share. People are like, okay, I see the value, I want to sew in. People will say that all the time.
Yeah.
Sewing in. So if they're sewing in and buying your CD, how is that? It's the difference. Again, it's putting it into that block. Okay, they're sewing, so therefore it's ministry. It's also business. What is God
also
telling you to do
business.
with what is being sown into you?
That's right.
And it comes with certain strategies. As I was praying about this and what to bring to the table on this, I looked at Acts 18 and I thought immediately of Aquila and Priscilla. Paul met them and they were partners in ministry, right? They helped open up the church in Corinth, but they were also in business as tent makers.
Okay.
So they did not walk around
Right.
sewing tents. going, hey, you can have this tent for free.
Right.
Just go ahead. And I understand when
Just
it's
give me a donation.
right, just, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever's laid on your heart
Right.
is what you give me.
Right.
No, they're like, the tent's $100, and you know, when do you want it? When do you need it? What's it look like? And they were professional. They
Right.
came
And
in,
I think that's the difference.
Right.
For being professional. It's like if you studied and you've gotten the ability to go out, you studied this. This is something that that God has taken you through a journey of learning, and you have an expertise in it.
Right, absolutely.
That's not
Right.
given to you just to, okay, well, it's cute. That's a hobby, and if your hobby is music, then go out and you can do it as a hobby. But then you're not looking at it the same way. You're not packaging yourself
Right.
on CD. So if you're saying, I'm going out and I'm an artist, God has given me the ability to do this. I'm an artist. I'm always going to be, my mission and who I'm called to be is always going to be who God created me to be. That
Right.
doesn't ever go away. So again, it's like breaking down the silos.
Right.
right. And so when we struggled with this years ago, I was sitting in my office, in my home office, and I was talking to the Lord about this, and I said, how do I do this? How do I do business and or ministry? How do I do them? And he showed me my kitchen, and he showed me my kitchen faucet. And he said, hot and cold water runs from both. Both run from one spigot, right? And you can't separate them once you do it. So
Right.
one of the key takeaways we want to make sure that you understand, and the audience understands, is this: your business can be a ministry.
Yes.
Your business can love and serve and help people for a fee,
Right.
right? And they're getting what they need. But your ministry can never be a business.
Right.
And that's where
Yes,
things
yes.
get convoluted. That's when we run into challenges about who are you and what you stand
Yes.
for.
Right.
So your ministry is always a ministry.
Yes.
So if you have a food pantry, if you have a a child care, or something, I don't know what it is, what God's laid
Whatever
on
it
your
is
heart.
you're serving.
Right.
Yes.
You have a
You're doing to
mentorship
serve
program.
people.
Yes.
Right.
You go and you serve with that.
Yes.
And God will work all that out for you.
Yeah.
And he will give you the strategies and the ideas. If you have a business, you need to treat it like a business.
Like a
It has to
business.
be raised up. Both of these organizations have to. It's just the focus.
Yes.
One is to generate revenue, and hopefully that revenue is generated and will then take care of the other.
Yes.
Absolutely. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had a question come to me the other day. If salvation is free, why charge? Right?
Because we don't provide salvation.
And we didn't pay the price for it.
Right.
It was salvation is not free. That was the price paid for our salvation.
Yeah. When I look at my business card, it says James, not Jesus.
Absolutely.
Right. And we're in this world. We're not of it, but we are
Yeah.
in this world.
We are.
And Jesus was very clear about this. He said, give Caesar his due.
Yeah.
They were asking about taxes and how we operate in this world.
Right.
We operate in this world. And
Yeah.
we have to operate on a day in, day out basis. You have real needs. And he tells us in 3 John 2, brothers, I wish that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. And this isn't about a prosperity. This is about you need to live.
Exactly.
And you need to be okay with living.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
people understand that. And as Regina said so well, and you don't want to turn them into thieves. You don't want
Right.
to say, here, I'm going to give you tens, hundreds, thousands of dollars of my gifting, my talent, my abilities, my skills, and I don't want you to pay me back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't want to reciprocate it.
Yeah. How is what God gave you less valuable than what the world is offering? And so if I'm going to pay for a diamond because I can go out and I can see it, I see the value because the world says it's a value. But God has placed something inside of you that is the most precious thing He can give you, and He's like, this is what I need you to go out and share. But that has no value. Okay.
It's even more valuable.
Exactly.
God gave it to you.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
That's right. Well, this is a wonderful discussion. I am learning so much. I hope you are too. We're going to go to a song, and then we're going to come back and continue this discussion. So we're going to hear I Forgot Just Who I Am by the Volunteer State Mass Choir. Okay, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about what are the elements of a good business and what are the elements of a good ministry, and how does it all work together.
just who I am. The greater one who dwells within saves a liar free from sin. Now I know just who I am. Come on, choir. Anybody need to be reminded? Oh yeah. I'm so glad to know just who I am. Yeah, yeah. Anybody need to be reminded? I'm glad to know who I am. Glory to God. I can stand here and say that no matter what, I'm a child of God. Choir, help me say, I'm a child of God. 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 He'll help you and strengthen you. He'll keep you. You'll make it through. He's a mighty God. Yeah. He's a mighty God. Yes, he is. He'll help you. Whatever you need. He'll keep you. He'll put his arms around you. I need some baptized believers that's not ashamed to say, yes, I forgot. But I've been reminded that I'm a child of God. No matter what I may go through, no matter what the sickness may be, he's a mighty God. He's a healer. He's a deliverer. He's a mighty God. I'm glad to know he's mighty in my life. A mighty God. A mighty God. Yeah. Mighty God. Mighty God. Do you know that he's a mighty God? Have you tried him? Have you tried him? I tried him and I found out that he's a mighty God. He'll do it. He'll work it out. All you got to do is believe and trust in him. He's a mighty God. A mighty God. A mighty God. I forgot that he's wonderful. He's a counselor. He's the everlasting Father. He's the Prince of Peace. Yes. Now that you know who he is, don't you ever forget who you are.
Welcome back to ECHE Music TV. I'm your host, Simone Henry, with my guests, James and Regyna Cooper. We are talking about, is it a ministry or is it business? So I'm busy sharing this out to my group. But before, we were talking about if it's ministry, how do we feel about, God gave you a talent and he gave you gifts, and is it okay to charge for that? To put a dollar value on it and go out and charge people and expect money from them. And Regyna pointed out that, well, we don't want to make them thieves now, do we? So the gifts and talents that God gives us are very valuable, and they're even more valuable because they come from God.
Yes.
And living in this world, money has a huge hold and a huge weight, really, in this world. We need money for everything, for eating, for paying our car notes, and for paying the water bill, and which is an essential element for life, and for the mortgages and rent, and so that business part comes into play.
Yes.
So let's talk about, what is the purpose of business? Why go into business?
Go.
Well,
That's a good one.
I got a lot of answers there. Well, our answer was because God told
Yes.
us. But that, even before that, though, honestly, I've always had a desire to have my own business, and I didn't know it. But I was always a maverick. But why go into business? You go into business because you have a product or service that has value, that people need and people want, and are willing to pay you for it. And so that's why you start a business. And, you know, regardless of whether you think that it was given to you so it has little value or not, your market will tell you how much value it is. And you have to do a good job of letting them know what it is. There's a lot of things you have to do that go into that. But at the end of the day, you start a business because you're gifted to do a business.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's also to have an impact.
Yes, you want to make
You
an
know,
impact.
when you're starting a business and the thing you're looking at what you're passionate about or what you do well, how you want to walk out your life to create this life that you enjoy living every day. You know, a lot of us, we say, someone once said, you know, you're born, live in a house, you go into a box to work in a car, you work in a box, you come home into another box, and it's like, is that really living? You know, so part of our change and part of the process of becoming entrepreneurs was learning. For me, it was accepting that, okay, I'm working for someone. Basically, my premise was I'm working for vacation. I want to work so you pay me when I'm on vacation. But that wasn't a guarantee.
Right.
And a lot of us walk around with that false premise that if I have a job, it's a guaranteed paycheck. We trust in our paycheck more than we trust in our supplier.
Right.
And that was
Right.
a learning process. And I think entrepreneurs and business owners so you have more opportunity to call out to our Father in heaven than I ever had there was a lot of frustration when I worked in corporate America, and I found I did a lot of ministry when I worked in corporate America. There was a lot of prayer things going on at work, and then stepping out of that, it was like, oh, hey, cool, we're going to have this business, and this is going to go, and then you realize, okay, God,
It's a lot of hard
it's
work.
you and me. Okay, you really need to give me the strategy because I know you're putting this on my heart.
Yeah.
And you're saying this is a path that I'm to go down. I need your direction in every step, every aspect of how we grow this business.
Right.
So it's not, like you said, it's all one, but we
all
often
comes
think about
together.
them differently.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I heard somebody say once that the job of an entrepreneur is to find a need and fill it.
Yes.
yes.
And then you get rewarded
Yes.
with lovely little certificates of appreciation.
Yes.
For helping.
With
For
these
helping
old guys'
somebody's life.
pictures
Right.
on it. Yes. Yes. These beautiful portraits.
Right?
Yes.
And then you have that desire not to live that 9-to-5 life anymore, you know, and so you put yourself in the situation where, you know, you're working super hard and you're, you know, using every talent God gave you and seeking out help from folks like you, and in order to make it big, to make it so that you are able to serve a lot of people. As far as like in the artist, the way you're serving people is that you are taking this message that God has given you. You put it in the song, you put some really great music to it, and you're serving people, and you're helping, and you're uplifting lives.
Yes.
You know, I know, like, there's been so many different areas in my life where, you know, it's like a soundtrack in my head.
Yes.
There's a song for these different moments,
Yes.
you know, and that's a service to people.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of times we think about the part that we love, the part when we actually get to interact and share with people. You're sharing your gift, you know. And when we get to coach people, and we're like, we get that aha moment. They discover, oh, I can really do this, and this is how we can lay it out to do it. But a lot of times we don't think about the work it takes. It's actually work behind that,
Yeah.
and that's what if you want to think about where you're valuing and why you're getting paid for what you do, is for the work that's behind it. Because when God tells us to do something for someone, there's no effort behind it.
It's grace.
It's grace.
Right.
Yeah.
And we give grace freely.
Yeah.
If God says say this or do this for a person, there's no charge for that,
Right.
you know. But also, and we know the difference. We try to act like we don't know. I don't want to charge for this, and then you're like, I can't believe I don't have any money to do this. Then you know God gave you the opportunity,
Yeah.
and He put it before you, and you didn't value it at the time.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
Because you don't value yourself.
yes,
Because
And
it's a
that's-
gift.
yes.
Because it's your gifting. Many of us assume everyone can do it.
yes,
And they assume it's easy. But it's
not
easy because it's a gift.
yes,
Right.
But your talents and skills that you acquired over the years,
Right.
those go into play too.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
It takes a lot of education
Right.
and you know, being a musician,
Yes.
practice. I
Yes.
watched my sister. She used to get up at 4 o'clock every morning
Right.
to practice her piano.
Right.
You know, I look at the students that she teaches now. and how, you know, how they go out there and they're performing, and their parents are just so proud of them, and that takes a lot of time and effort and practice every day.
Right.
You know, it's not easy.
Yeah, I look at Joseph as an example.
That's where I was getting ready to go. Yes.
You know, when he was called before the king, because he was interpreting dreams, he went and he said, "This is what I hear," and he went back. You tell it so much better.
Well, no, you just keep trying to do it then.
Okay, use your talents.
Thank you. All right. So you know, so the one thing I like to tell people is that the morning Joseph woke up and Pharaoh called him, he didn't expect that call. He wasn't looking for it. He didn't know it was coming.
Right.
And so when Pharaoh called him, he activated his gifts. Right, his gifts just worked. He knew how to interpret dreams, so he interprets a dream. All right, he got no compensation for that. Pharaoh said, "Thank you very much." He then turned to his people and said, "All right, this guy not only has interpreted the dream, but he's also given us a strategy.
Yeah.
Now,
The
who
next
do we
14
know
years.
who can implement this strategy and know it's his God?" And they were like, him.
Right, the guy who came up with
Right,
it.
the guy who came up with it.
Yeah.
And so now, if it were today, and we're talking about the subject we're talking about, Joseph would have said, "Oh, no, that was ministry. I don't want to get compensated for that. It's okay. I don't need to be prime minister of Egypt, the second most powerful
Right.
person
And
in
get
the
a
land.
wife out of the deal.
Yeah, yes, and bring salvation to my family, to all of Israel.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, no, I don't want that. You know, instead, he was just as surprised to see that and said, "Okay, thank you."
Yeah.
And he went to work.
Yes.
He went to doing what he was doing. Paul walked into cities and he did not announce. There was not a YouTube channel. There was not Facebook saying, "Paul the Apostle, servant of Christ, is coming." He came in many towns as a tent maker. And he was in there making tents, but he always had his radar up.
Yeah.
Because he knew the work that we do unto the Lord.
Right.
So that's why our business can be a ministry.
Right.
But when he went into ministry mode, and we can read that in the scriptures, you see, thank you for your help. You know, thank this family for their donation, thank this family, thank that family. Because we know what we're out here and we're doing God's work. Right?
Right.
He never talked about, hey, you know, I need a little hookup on that. You know, he
Right.
simply said, and it was very clear to him, I'm in ministry mode, I'm in business mode.
Right.
But I'm still one. I'm still me.
Yeah.
And
It
I
all
have to
goes
bring me to
together.
both.
Yeah,
Right.
It
It
all
all
goes together.
flows
Yeah.
together.
So I
Yeah.
did this graphic
Yes.
up here. A friend of mine did this for me, and basically this illustrates what we've been talking about. All of your gifts and your talents and the rehearsals and everything that you do, that all goes into your music part, your ministry part. But then you also, in order to be a successful indie artist, you also have to have those business elements
Yes.
that go into it. It all comes together to make something wonderful.
Yes.
Right? And so this has been such a great conversation. We are already out of time. I cannot believe it. So very quickly, tell everybody who you are and what you'd like them to know about you and how to contact you.
Okay. James and Regyna Cooper. Our company is Maxa Group. It's MAX as an X-ray, S as in Sam, ER Group.com is where you can find us, maxagroup.com. And we also have on that site, there's a caviar living. You want to live the caviar life and things you don't want to do. We have some tips to avoid. Go and you can download that for free. So that's a gift that we're giving to you because that's something that was placed on our heart to do.
Right. 10 don'ts. 10
Yeah.
things you should never do
Yeah.
when going to start or maintain your business.
Yes.
10 don'ts for absolute
Yes.
don'ts
Okay.
that you should not do. And
Grab
one
that
of-
myself.
Yeah, yeah, well, absolutely. And one of those should be don't walk away without taking money. That should have been one of them. I'm going to add that. I just mentally added that to the list.
See, I received that.
Right.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for watching. See us here again next week.
With Simone.
Simone Henry, ECHE Music TV. Thanks for watching.